Covering Colorado First, we are committed to building communities that thrive with frank conversations about mental health. One special initiative is working to remove the stigmas that can hinder individuals with addiction from accessing treatment. I'm Karen Lee, and it's my honor to bring you this Lift the Label community conversation. The journey to recovery we know can be extremely difficult, but you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, and also don't be afraid to offer it. That is the advice of Janice Greenwood, who bravely shares her story of gratitude to those who showed kindness and her commitment to pay that kindness forward.
This is more than a desk job for Janice Greenwood. It's now become her calling.
I prayed that I could get the message out to as many people as I could. You know, about recovery, about my spiritualism, about your families being together, about being able to work.
She works as a certified nurse's assistant for the University of Colorado, and she works just blocks from where she lived her former life as a person addicted to crack cocaine living on the streets.
Look like skin and bones.
Greenwood developed a substance use disorder after just wanting to fit in.
Because I go to city jail on Tuesdays and I go to county jail on Wednesdays, or vice versa. That was my life.
Her new life includes enjoying roller skating, volunteering in her church, and working in prison ministries. And she just recently celebrated 19 years of sobriety. Now she's inspiring others to do the same.
What I do mostly is I listen.
Greenwood says the purpose of the Lift the Label campaign is you should not be embarrassed if you suffer from addiction. She tells families that they can't support a person working for recovery if they enable their addiction.
If you don't understand the drug, you cannot be of any help.
Greenwood says there are resources out there for people with a substance use disorder. She's living proof that there's every reason to be hopeful that recovery is within reach. I'm Mackenzie O'Keefe, covering Colorado First.
Oh, and look at her go, right? She's amazing. Well, we saw just how important we know encouragement was to Janice. But did you know that Colorado artists are designing greeting cards for the recovery community as well? Well, joining me now to talk more about this is Charlotte Whitney. She's the Deputy Communications Director for the Colorado Behavioral Health Administration, and Madison Maker, Recovery Cards Project artist. Thank you both for being with us so much. We appreciate it.
So excited to hang out with you, Karen. This is a really great opportunity to be able to chat about recovery cards.
Yeah, so important on all levels, right? Well, we want to start here with Charlotte. Charlotte, can you first share with us why the state launched the Recovery Cards Project?
Yeah, it all starts with Lift the Label, which is our statewide effort to reduce stigma, just like Janice had talked about. We know that stigma is one of the main reasons people don't seek treatment. And Lift the Label shares the stories of real Coloradans who have fought through those barriers and found recovery from addiction. And it tells the stories of friends and family members who support somebody who struggled with addiction. So it's just like a really cool, awesome thing we've been able to do, and share those really compelling stories and show people that recovery is possible. Addiction can happen to anyone, but anyone can get help. And through that work, people had shared, Charlotte, people don't know what to say to me when I tell them I'm in recovery. They don't know what to say to me when I tell them my son passed away from an opioid overdose. You know, it ran the gamut. And so greeting cards are a time-tested, thoughtful gesture that we use all the time to talk about hard things that we may not have the words for. And so Recovery Cards puts the words of hope and encouragement right into our hands so we can support people in recovery.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have the words right, but the cards do,
yep,
which is so
absolutely.
fantastic. We want to bring in Madison now, and we know, Madison, thank you so much for creating these beautiful cards. We know that you have spent so much time on. So let's talk a little bit, Madison, about your inspiration. What inspires you with this artwork?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think that recovery is a journey that looks very different for everybody. So I really wanted to create a card that friends and loved ones could use to give to the person that they love who may be struggling, that says, hey, like, I'm on that journey with you. I'm going to be there through the lows if you need support, but I'm also going to be there through the highs, and we're going to celebrate your success.
Yeah, I'm reading one of them right here, Madison, in my hand. It says, a big thank you for not giving up on me, even when I wanted to give up on myself. And knowing, I had shared with you a few minutes ago that I have some loved ones in recovery, and it's so important that that you learn how to love each other, right? Even
Absolutely.
through those tough times.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so hard to talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about where people can get these recovery cards.
You can order recovery cards for free at recoverycardsproject.com. Anybody in Colorado can order those right now, and we're really excited about them. And please go share these messages of hope and encouragement.
Charlotte, we know so many young people, we talk about it all the time on the news, of course, and pretty much everywhere and in communities. You hear so often of the young people struggling with addiction. Where can they go for help, and how is the best way to reach our young people right now today?
I mean, offering genuine support and really listening. I mean, when anybody's struggling with anything in life, not just, addiction like we're talking about today, we all want to be heard and listened to. So, offering a listening ear and offering support. And one of the key things is to know where support can be found. And so we're lucky in Colorado to have OwnPath, which is an online directory to find licensed behavioral health providers near you. So I'd recommend checking that out.
And Madison, what do you think about that? What advice do you have for young people who might have their own friends, or just older people that have some young people that they love, that they know are struggling with addiction or recovery? What words of advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I would really say that if we can just break stigma and talk with our young people in our life, offer them support, offer them love, and tell them, it's okay if you're struggling, and it's even more okay to ask for help. We know that that's successful, and if you feel like they have somebody they can talk with, then they're more likely to access treatment resources and just feel better overall.
Madison, I want to ask you too, what do you wish friends and loved ones understood a little bit better when you're talking about the journey to recovery? What do you wish people understood more about that journey?
I wish people really understood that healing doesn't happen alone. It doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in community. So we need to lift each other up. We need to support one another. And that's really the only way to find recovery, is having a good support system that can help you through some of those harder days.
And certainly, Charlotte and Madison, as we sit here and talk about this, as we have this special here for so many people to check into, lifting the label, changing that stigma, it does seem to be changing. More people are talking about it, more people are in community with this, but how much work still needs to be done in this conversation, Charlotte?
I mean, that's why we do this work. We know not only is it a significant factor keeping people from seeking support, but it's still rather pervasive. So we love seeing the progress overall, and that people are talking about it. We're lucky in Colorado to have the Colorado Health Access Survey, which tells us in 2021 that about 80,000 people said, hey, I needed substance use treatment and I didn't get it. And when you ask them why, about 75% said it was stigma. So the shame that people feel even talking about or trying to seek help is significant. We know it's a big barrier to care.
And Madison, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Shame really fuels addiction. And so if we can decrease the shame that people feel when they're struggling with addiction, we're able to better support them and create success for all Coloradans.
Well, you guys are doing fantastic work. These cards are beautiful, and they really say the words that so many people can't say, which is so great, which is why we love them so much, and your artwork's fantastic. Madison, thank you so much, and thank you, Charlotte, for spending some time with us. And we know finding the right treatment can be daunting. What the state is doing to make it easier for everyone to get the mental health support that they need, coming up. Well, we are back with details about the platform the state has designed to help you find mental health and substance use treatment providers. Kristen Lara joins us now, and she is Interim Deputy Commissioner for the Colorado Behavioral Health Administration. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being with us and talking about this today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate this conversation. It is well documented that people struggling with addiction, any mental health challenge, really have a hard time finding care out there. And you're using technology to help with this, which is just fantastic. If you could, Kristen, explain to us a little bit how that works.
Absolutely. So about a year ago, the Behavioral Health Administration launched an online searchable directory called OwnPath. And so on OwnPath, people can look for behavioral health providers available in the state of Colorado when they're in a time of need. So they can look for supports available for struggles with addiction, struggles with mental health challenges. Ultimately, the Behavioral Health Administration really wants to make sure that there's an easy, quick, user-friendly way for people to find the help that they need. Since launching OwnPath, I'm really excited to say that we've had over 250,000 people go to the site to find help. So it's been an incredible success over the past year, and I'm really excited to be able to encourage people to use the site to find help.
That is just fantastic, trying to simplify it when people are struggling. So important. When people sit down to use this site, is there anything in particular they need to know?
Such a good question, and I am really proud to say, not really, no. One thing that's really neat about OwnPath is that it was designed by people in Colorado who were themselves either experiencing a challenge with addiction or mental health. It was based on their feedback or input for what works and what doesn't work for them when looking for or searching for behavioral health services. And so all of those design efforts directly went into the way that the site works, meaning when you go there, simply put, you show up, and it's meant to help you get through a tough time, to get you the information that you need, to get the support that you need. And it's very user-friendly.
Yeah, we like that. Right?
Yes.
Everybody makes it so nice. We want to talk a little bit about cost. We know when people start thinking about recovery, they panic, right? Because they're like, how am I going to pay for this? That's just not even going to work into our budget. Or how do I get this help that I need? You know, it's such a big worry for people. Not all plans, insurance plans, offer robust mental health support. We all know this. So how does insurance factor in? And can you find providers if you're underinsured or they don't have insurance at all? What do they do?
That's a great question. So two things. One, when you go to the site, you will be able to filter by or look at different payment options. So you can, if you have private insurance or commercial insurance, you can look for providers that offer or take private or commercial insurance. You can do the same thing for the Health First Colorado state Medicaid program. There are options related to sliding fee scale, self-pay. Options are all available. When you go to OwnPath, one thing that you'll be able to see, you'll be able to type in a zip code to look for providers in your area. You can also go through a guided search feature that basically just asks you questions about why are you here today? What are you looking for? And through that can then tinker with the site to identify what options or what criteria make a service best meet your needs in particular. And payment absolutely is a very common challenge or barrier that we know people experience or that they think about a lot before making the choice to explore or receive care. And we absolutely want to make sure that that is something people feel like they have the opportunity through OwnPath to explore and make good decisions based on that.
We know sometimes language can be a barrier for people as well. Does OwnPath serve people who don't speak English? Is there a way that they can communicate as well?
Yes, absolutely. So the OwnPath site was launched in 2 languages. So there's ownpath.co, which is all in English, as well as mipropiasenda.co, so a full Spanish version of OwnPath. In addition, whether you're using the Spanish or the English version of the site, you can limit your search by what language services are offered in. So you could limit searches to Vietnamese, German, Russian, number of other languages that behavioral health services are available in Colorado can be found on OwnPath.
We were just talking about this only being around for a year now and how many people have already accessed it. What's the quick, easy way for people to find it if they don't know about it? Does it just pop up on the search engine? You know, how do people find this and know that this is a service and a tool that's provided right there for them?
That is a great question. Hopefully it does pop up on people's social media feeds. Right. Certainly can search for behavioral health, help with addiction, help with mental health challenges, and hopefully OwnPath.co pops to the top. And they can find it there. Anything else that you want to share with people that's important before we wrap up our conversation? There are a handful of features that I think are really good for people to know about. So first, your search experience is completely anonymous. So I would highly encourage anyone, whether you are presently struggling with addiction or mental health challenges, whether you're just curious about what's out there, anybody can, I think, be supported by or benefited by better behavioral health or mental health. And so I'd really encourage anybody to go to ownpath.co. The experience there is completely anonymous. One other benefit of the site is that providers don't pay to appear higher or lower on the search results. And there are a lot of unique things that will appear on OwnPath that don't appear on other online directories. So an example that I think is really neat is you'll be able to find providers that specialize in treating people experiencing homelessness on the OwnPath site. So you can look by that or limit your search features or results by that, which is pretty neat. Last, I'd love to just reiterate that everybody's path to finding care and getting good care is different. And the reason that the Behavioral Health Administration has OwnPath or offers it is really to make sure that there's no wrong door for people to receive good behavioral health care in the state of Colorado. So no matter what your path is, we hope that Own Path is a part of helping you down that journey to health and recovery.
Chris and Laura, thank you so much for opening our eyes to Own Path and all that it offers. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
She is the Behavioral Health Administration, and still ahead, another valuable resource specifically for the family and friends of people who are struggling with addictions. So stay with us. Well, we are back learning about all of the resources available to anyone that wants to support their loved ones that are struggling with addiction. Jessica Triplett is the State Opioid Response Grant Program Manager. Jessica, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
We were just sitting here chatting a second ago about the CRAFT program. We want to talk about that. So what does CRAFT stand for and what does it mean?
Yeah, so CRAFT stands for the Community Reinforcement and Family Training Program. So CRAFT works with family members, friends, chosen family, basically anyone that loves somebody that's struggling with addiction, otherwise known as substance use disorder, to help encourage change, help encourage treatment, recovery, and also take care of themselves.
We always say that it isn't just about the person that's in addiction, right? It impacts the entire family.
Yes.
If someone's sick, everybody's sick in
Yes.
the family. We often say that. Is this available all over the state? And what about Spanish speakers too?
Yes, so we have 36 groups that are running throughout the state at this point in time, and we have 4 to 6 groups running in Spanish. It is available, most groups are online. Some groups are hybrid where they have an online piece and then an in-person piece, and then there's a couple of groups that are all in person. So this is a group format. Folks can find each other, they can support each other, they can get feedback from each other on their situations, and it's just a really great cohesive experience.
Does it cost anything? Is it free?
It's absolutely free for anybody in Colorado. We do have a couple of folks that have found CRAFT outside of the state of Colorado, and a lot of their loved ones are going to treatment in Colorado. So that's how they found this service. So
how is this different from, I know a lot of people are familiar with Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. Is this similar or is it quite a bit different?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's a question that comes up a lot. A lot of folks that find CRAFT realize that they've gone to these 12-step meetings, these Al-Anon, Nar-Anon meetings, and they don't really get the skills they're looking for to have an impact on their loved one that's struggling. So those support groups are great in that they can focus on themselves and have some of those boundaries. But the thing that's really different about CRAFT is folks that go to CRAFT group, they really focus on concrete skills. So they learn communication skills, they learn problem solving, and they work on that connection, that relationship that really helps encourage somebody to make changes. So
let's talk a little bit about these numbers. It's really, really encouraging. I want to share a little data with you. 7 out of 10 family members who take part in the CRAFT program are successful in engaging their loved one into a treatment program or coming out of a treatment program. Let's talk about those success stories.
Yeah, so CRAFT is an evidence-based program, and some of the findings of CRAFT is that research has shown 7 out of 10 folks that go through CRAFT are successful at getting their loved one to engage into treatment. And studies have also shown that just by going through CRAFT, regardless of whether or not those folks struggling with addiction go to treatment, the family members, friends, support people, they feel better about themselves. They see lower levels of anxiety, lower levels of anger, depression, just by that self-care piece that's really ingrained in the CRAFT program.
I'm sure you have some success stories to share with us.
Yes. So yesterday, during a phone call, I talked to a CRAFT coach who's running a group in Colorado, and she shared that after 6 months, one of her group members was able to get her 40-year-old son, who was using heroin, into treatment. So he got into treatment and he got on medicated assisted treatment. He moved out of their house, which he'd lived there for 40 years, moved out of their house, and he got a job. And so that's a success story, but it keeps going. So after a couple months, they got a little bit nervous because they weren't hearing from him. He was sleeping all day, and it was one of those things that, you know, red flags go off in your brain, oh my gosh, they're using again. Right. So they use their CRAFT skills of communication and that establishing the relationship, that connection piece, to have a conversation with him. And he was completely fine. He was working overnights, and he was doing everything that he said he was doing. So it's one of those programs that you have to maintain it, but it can be so important and so healthy for a relationship.
Yeah, it sounds simple, doesn't it? But communication skills break down when there's addiction in the family, right? It's so hard because you never know what is up and down.
Absolutely.
And how things, lives turn upside down over this. So having that foundation and those skills to learn how to communicate is just vital.
Yeah, yeah. And it encompasses the saying of connection is the opposite of addiction. So by fostering that connection, we're helping support somebody that really needs help, that really needs treatment, or all the different pathways of recovery. It supports those different pathways. CRAFT is a group that works with any drug of choice, any sort of relationship. So it's really all-encompassing with people that are struggling with addiction.
And anything we're missing as we sit here and discuss CRAFT?
The other thing that I'll say is for folks that are listening that have accidentally helped the person use, we call it enabling. CRAFT is completely different. We work on skills, strategies. We come up with plans in the group how to encourage that person to live a sober lifestyle, finding activities they enjoy doing, that they enjoyed doing before the addiction took over, working on that relationship piece. So it's completely different than anything that these family members have tried. And I encourage anyone that is hearing this today that wants to participate, it's free, you're gonna learn a lot, and regardless of or whether or not your person goes into recovery, you will feel better.
It does not hurt, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt a thing.
No, exactly.
Well, Jessica Triplett, thank you so much for spending some time with us. She's with the State Opioid Response Grant Program. You're the manager. Thank you so much for your time and your effort and all the work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
And we appreciate you for joining us to learn how we all can lift the label and step up as a community to ensure that everybody thrives and sees that recovery is within reach. We sure hope that you'll check out our website for so much more. Have a great day.